Hello and welcome to today's Confessions of a Global Changemaker show. I am here with a man who's feeling very fruity this afternoon, Mr. Simon Benn. Welcome back to the show.
Wow, thank you, Sonny. Thank you for having me on again. Why? Who knows? But yeah, let's do it.
It's just too much fun. I love getting to play with you. So, Simon, tell us about the hat. What's going on with that hat?
Okay. So most of us adults, right, we think that the world outside determines our mood, right? So we think that the weather or the traffic jam or the guy cutting us up on the motorway or the guy cutting me up in the swimming pool, we think that that person is causing our feelings. But our feelings only ever come from our thoughts, because feelings come from thoughts, like juice comes from fruit. Fruity hat. Bum.
Okay, I love it. I love it. So basically, if you look fruity, then you feel fruity.
If you put a happy apple, if you eat a happy apple, you're going to feel happy. If you put a happy apple into your juicer, that's going to make happy apple juice. If you drink that happy apple juice, that is going to guarantee that will make you happy.
I heard recently that 1 hour of laughing is enough to give you immunity for 24 hours. So there's got to be something in this whole laughter and joy thing. And, you know, is this something that you bring into the activities that you do with the kids that you work with?
What do you think? Yeah, yes, of course I do.
No, I think you just dress like that at home.
Yeah, well, I actually bought this for. I was on an exhibition stand at the Yorkshire Mafia event at the Armouries in Leeds, which was a huge event. I mean, I've been there to see the Killers, I've been there to see the Stone Roses, and I've been there to stand on a stand all day with a silly hat on my head to stand out. But yeah, if I'm working in a school, the first thing I do is, well, I want to make sure that those kids realise they're not in for an hour of boring 40 minutes or an hour of boring lessons, because we all learn more when we're having fun, right? You know, whether we're 8, whether we're, I think I'm a little bit older than you. I'm actually 50, 48, right? So I've got 5 years on you.
I'm 44.
Sorry?
I'm 44.
All right.
Going on 48.
You're as old as the man you feel, aren't you?
Oh God, I'm ancient.
Yeah.
I said that.
So yeah, fun. We all know when we're having fun. It's just a no-brainer. So yeah, we play games about happy apples and brilliant bananas and confident coconuts, and we act out the juicer. So did you ever pretend to be a tree when you were at school? You know, in drama.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I have to think back then.
Yeah, it's not that long ago. Only 44.
I can't remember what happened yesterday. Who else on the call remembers doing a tree when you were at school? Like, do you remember having to do that when you were a kid?
Yeah, and it's So in the fun workshops, the play shops, as Lubna suggested, I call them play shops, not workshops.
Yeah, love it.
Like that. We pretend to be a juicer. So so the kids. The kids in groups will pretend to be a juice, because that's how our thoughts and feelings work. So the fruity thoughts that go into our head create the juicy feelings that come out of our heart. Boom, you know, and they play around, they spin themselves around. I stop them, ask them, what is it that you're putting into your juicer? What sort of fruity thoughts are you doing? We bring out of the kids, we bring the happiness out of the kids, but they're a lot happier than us adults anyway. So it's actually far easier to do this with kids.
So share with us an activity then. I'd love to know, what did you call it? A happy apple? What do you do with the happy apples?
Well, I mean, so we do the kind of like we can pretend, the kids will pretend to be a happy apple. So, but mainly it's about them coming up their creative juices. Like what I did there. So it's about how do they want to feel? How do they want to feel? So they come up with the juices. It's like coaching, but with kids, and it's fun. So yeah, it's you know, what are all their favorite feelings? What are all their favorite thoughts, and how can they put them together? And then on a kind of like a more serious note, the fact that you know, bad blackberries go into our juicer. You know, it's how many resilient raspberries we can put back in to bounce back from that, and how fast we can do that. It's not about saying that all 70,000 thoughts that you have a day are going to be good ones. It's realistic, but it's about how you're going to exchange flush the sad strawberries out and put some brilliant bananas back in, or or whatever. Yeah.
Where does this come from, though, Simon? Because, you know, I mean, for you to go and do this, you were in the corporate world for a long, long time, and you're now focusing on this, you know, really working with kids, creating happy, confident kids. Where does that come from? Was there something in your childhood that wasn't as happy, and you want to put that right? You want to support other kids to not go through that? What's the story?
I started doing this not because I had a sad childhood, but because I had a sad adulthood. My business success determined my mood, so I was on the roller coaster of ups and downs, and then when I was right at the top of I was on the top of the roller coaster financially. It was like it was an empty victory. It was a hollow victory. I was sitting about this time of year, actually. I was sitting on the deck of a ski chalet after a fantastic day skiing, and it was my second skiing holiday of the season. You know, I'd been away in March, and then I'd given myself this reward to go away in April, and I was still kind of worried about the future. So I got into personal development, and then fast forward, I decided to sell out of my other business. Tried a few things in terms of making other people happy, other small business owners, and then corporates. And then I came up with this idea one sunny July morning in 2013 on the kids stuff, and I've been on that pretty much ever since. I've tried, different ways of commercializing it. I went for corporate sponsorship. I did actually. There was something that did make me pretty unhappy in my childhood, and that was bullying. So when I figured that when I found out I figured a way to immunize a third of the class against bullying in 35 minutes, I was like totally blown away with that. And
I bet. And how? I mean, what is the process? How do you do that? And what you do, does that work with adults as well?
Yeah, to a certain extent. We're all obsessed with process, right? And I had an idea about this whilst I was walking the dog this lunchtime, right? So we think that process, we're looking for a revolution. You know, we're looking for the how-to, we're looking for the action, but actually change comes from a revelation, right? That's what drives change, when we see something completely different. And when we truly get that feelings only ever come from thoughts, right? They only ever come from thoughts, and that bully cannot actually that bully can't make you feel shit anymore.
Yeah.
So it's not
about a relationship, doesn't it? If you're not at school.
Sorry?
That goes for every relationship, doesn't it? That's not just at school.
The whole thing is for adults as well. You know, I came up with this before I really got the depth of the fact that feelings come from thoughts. And most of the time, we're not choosing. We're not choosing. We're not choosing our thoughts, and we're not choosing our feelings. We're hanging on to the rubbish. We're hanging on. We take kids bounce back far quicker because the kid can be having a complete spag out, and then next minute it's all gone. They bounce back far quicker than we do. We go on, oh, it's my childhood, it's my bullying that happened in the past. Well, no, it's just your thought. We take our thoughts far too seriously. The best thing that I ever do, the best things, the best revelations that have happened to me is when I realized that the rubbish in my head is rubbish.
It's a big revelation, isn't it? Because as adults, we leave that childlike curiosity and the all of the beliefs that we build, the limiting beliefs that we build as we grow up. There's all these layers on layers on layers of stuff. What I love about the work that you do is that you're on a mission to work with the kids before those layers are built up, so that they live a life of empowered freedom, really, that an empowered confidence to really get out there and be the person that they are in their original design, not the person that has built up the fear and all those walls and walls around the heart as well. And that can create all kinds of challenges, from relationships through business, through work, and all kinds of stuff, isn't it? And it costs a lot more to go through that personal development process when we're older than actually working with the kids when they're at a younger age. What sort of age group is it that you're working with?
8 to 11 is the main age range. So some 7-year-olds will get it, some 6-year-olds will get it, some 6-year-olds it's a little bit too abstract, some 12-year-olds get it, but mainly 8 to 11, and it's about 16 I've worked with so far. And they get it at differing degrees, like anybody would get it. The way that we get to them, though, and they get the interest is by focusing on what it is that they want. So school wants them to pass their SATs test. No SATs test this year because of COVID, of course, but it's about what is it that child wants to do? What's the dream? What do they need to make the dream? What do they need to do? And then how do they need to feel, and where do those feelings come from? So that's the trick, is to engage the child in what matters to them. Because so much time their life is run by somebody else's agenda. The school is running their life from 9 till 3 every day. And the parents have got their own agenda, and it's giving the kid their agenda, going on their agenda, and that's what gets their engagement. So like you engage with us by what's our agenda.
Yeah, totally. Simon, let's dig into some of the stuff that you've learned, because we talked in your first interview, which, God, that must be a couple of months ago now, your very first interview for the Confessions show. I think this is like a what did Simon do next? I think this is a good thing. So since we last spoke, you went over to Phoenix, Arizona, I think, didn't you, to go over to that massive event. And so you've gone on a mission to really reach those million children.
So what have I done since then? Well, I've figured a way to get the companies to pay for what I do, to get big companies to pay for what I do. So by aligning kind of corporate career stuff, STEM career, science, technology, engineering, maths, all that career stuff with the dreams of the kids. Because a lot of the kids dream of being engineers or scientists or authors or whatever. That's the way that they tap into. So I'd figured a way to do that. Probably 3 weeks. And I thought, this is it. Hallelujah. 3 weeks before the rubbish came down with COVID. And I just and as you pointed out to me, that the companies are not going to be interested in this stuff now. So that idea is shelved. that revenue model is shelved. That way of getting the corporate to pay for Kidspirational is shelved. And I've gone back to basic, and I'm working on something that is ultra simple. So it, I don't know if someone. So I'm working on a new model, which is using the activity book and the comic that I've created.
Yeah, these are brilliant. You sent them to me last night. They look amazing.
Yeah, your niece and your nieces and nephews and grandchildren. Yeah, so it's the story. It's the story of how Jack Cherry. Yeah?
Oh, we can't really see that on the screen.
Yeah, Jack Cherry. Okay. So Jack Cherry discovers that feeling thoughts like juice comes from fruit. Yeah, so it's his story, and then there's loads of activities based on the activities that are done, and there's videos, and I've got a reading guide.
Brilliant. And did you have these things already, or is this something you've literally pivoted?
I had all those. So my first revenue model for Jack Cherry was the corporate sponsorship, and because of the bullying connection, and because the mobile phone companies and the internet service providers are very concerned about cyberbullying, that was the model that I was going with. And you know, we were going to sell like 500,000 of them, or give 500,000 of the books and stuff away through JD Weatherspoons as well. We had all sorts of corporate partnerships.
Oh my God. All of the companies that have just had to abandon business.
Well, that revenue model, to be fair, was like back in 5 years ago after I created the product. But I couldn't push those. I got meetings with Vodafone and O2 and loads of different people. But they didn't come off. So then I moved on to like the schools model, but schools haven't got any cash. So you know, I gained 400, 500 quid a day here and there for schools. And then I've been focusing on the parents model, and I've tried different things in that. But now all
the things that you've tested, I mean, you know, because we usually have quite a lot of business to business people on the show. From a consumer point of view, out of all the things you've tested, what has been the most successful to be able to reach the parents?
I haven't figured that yet. I mean, you know, I haven't. I'd like to be able to say that there is one, but I really haven't figured that. I've got a new. I spoke to somebody who's got a really cool trick with YouTube video adverts. So I'm going to be doing some partnership with him. So that if that works out, then I'll come back on the show and I'll tell you how to do these.
That'll be another. What Simon did next, part 2. 2.0.
The thing is, the average. I saw something on a Facebook group at lunchtime. You know, somebody talking about online book sales. Well, Amazon takes so much off you. You know, and you can't. But your unit price is so low. Your unit profit is so low. You can't put the revenue in it. If you're going to make a quid on the book that Amazon sells at 6 quid.
Right.
The business model is really tricky. That's why I've picked up coaching gigs with kids from parents and stuff like that. But it's who wants to I mean, the parents don't. Yeah. I haven't sorted that. Do you know what I mean? So I'd like.
Be interesting. Like, keep us informed. I'm dying to know about your YouTube strategy. So share a little bit of that with us. What are you planning to do? Let's get into. Share us with us the little secret.
I've got some really cool quotes. I've got some really cool video testimonials from kids, and the plan is to use those on some YouTube advertising. How, I don't know exactly how that's going to work. But that's apparently it is. It's a lot cheaper than Facebook ads,
right?
I think for me, one of my strengths is my ability to get meetings with CEOs and corporate communication directors and HR directors of blue chip companies, and because of that, so I've done that with 4 different products with conversion rates between 18 and 32%.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm aware of, modesty aside, I'm aware that there's a pretty good numbers there, but that makes me aware of how weak I am, or how much I yet to have to learn. Depending on how you say it, on consumer markets. But it all comes down to your revenue model, and it all comes down to your pricing and what you can afford to put into a thing. And Facebook ads, I've tried them a few times, and
I think it depends on where they're at, isn't it? There's a lot of people that are trying Facebook ads and it's not landing because they're using like pre-active language for a proactive audience, or vice versa. So there's a lot of people that click through but then don't take action because they're not ready to take action. So there's some interesting language stuff when it comes to the Facebook advertising side of things. But I think YouTube is a really good strategy for you, because all those parents, they're just on YouTube, they're looking, the kids are on YouTube, getting to the parents through the kids. I know some people who are doing it really well right now. Did you see Rihanna Mayan? She did like a readathon, and she had the kids read her stuff. That was so good. That
was really cool. That hats off to her. I thought that was a great strategy. The thing with any sort of advertising, the numbers need to stack up. So and you need to be putting a lot of traffic in. So when I've had products like this, I did find one that did work. Let me tell you, the big one that worked is I had a joint venture. So I had a product that beat SAT stress. So it's called Jack Cherry's recipe for SAT success, not Jack Cherry and the juicer. So, we got I got a partner with educational products, and their list is 100,000, and we offered a free lead magnet, and we got 1,000 signups.
Brilliant.
1,000 signups. Yeah, sounds great, doesn't it? So 600 parents signed up, and 20 bought a 20 quid product, right? So that's 400 quid. And 400 teachers signed up, and 4 out of 400, i.e. 1%, or a 100 quid product. So that was 800 quid, right, for that joint venture partnership. And the partner took a third. I kept 2/3, but I had to pay for all the production. Now,
what was the follow-on process from that? So you did that the first sale. Yeah, was there anything that went out to them again?
I didn't do it again. I didn't do that again. But if you look at somebody like Russell Brunson, he advocates the joint venture approach all the time.
Absolutely.
He built his £100 million business largely on joint ventures and partnerships, not on Facebook advertising. But it takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of contact. And he's been at building that for 30 years before he's hit the big time. So we're all in this rush to do Facebook advertising. The numbers don't stack up for most of us, unless you've got a really high-end price at the back point. It's all through joint ventures. But yeah, so that's what
I think it's all in the follow-up as well. So if you've got that list now of all those people that bought it, running a follow-up campaign with those people. We haven't really invested much at all in Facebook ads. All the stuff that we've done has been through partnerships, joint ventures, really building the brand. And I think, like Russell, he's learned over 30 years what not to do the hard way. There are faster ways to go and do things now. But yeah, I mean, one of the things that I see that people fall down on most is that they do the original marketing, they build this list, but then they feel despondent because it wasn't as successful as they thought it was, and then they don't continue to build a relationship and nurture the list they've got. And so they're actually sat on a load of gold where somebody is saying, I don't trust you enough yet. They're not saying I'm not going to buy your product. They're just saying I don't trust you enough yet. Could you build a relationship with me a little bit? And then I'm definitely interested. And so many people, I'm not saying this is you, but so many people go into Facebook advertising with that head on, or they go into joint ventures with that head on, and then they miss the opportunity to really nurture and build a relationship with, you know, even if there's 100 people on that list, it's still 100 people who are people, aren't they? They're humans. They could be your ideal customer at some point.
But those relationships are built offline. So I'm here because of the fact that we met 12, 13 years ago. When
years ago.
And I remember sitting at dinner with you lunch one day, and you were telling me what you're doing. You and Miles at the time were telling me what we're doing, and I was like, "Why the hell are you doing all this networking?" Right? So you built your business success on the back of offline network, and then you've taken it online, and that's, to me, that's how I look at it. I may be wrong. From the outside looking in, it looks to me like that's how you built your success, is in the love and the support and the energy that you brought to your network, and the infectious effect that in a good way that you have on people. That's how you built your that's how that was the foundation for your joint venture.
You know, it's so interesting. It's so interesting that you say that, because that's really giving me an opportunity to reflect on it. And I would say, yes, that's absolutely right. With the business that I had, it was hard work, Simon. When I met you, it was bloody hard work. It was networking. It was going to the opening of an envelope, going and meeting people all the time, coffees after coffees after coffees. It was hard work, and I burned out. That's one of the reasons I burned out so bad. And when I moved over to France, and I didn't have anything, I didn't have a business, I moved over to France. I was never going into business again. And I remember thinking, I don't want life to be that way again. Like, if I'm going to do this, it has to be online. And so over the last 6.5 years, everything I've done has been pretty much online. Isn't it interesting that, you know, because I've got quite a few people that are coming back into my life now who I met offline that are now seeing the stuff that I'm doing, like yourself, that I'm doing online. But it's really interesting. I had my first meeting at the end of last year, like my first coffee with somebody in nearly 6 years. I hadn't done any meeting of anybody. It was literally, I was either running an event or it was doing, you know, the online relationship building side of things. And that's really interesting for me to be able to reflect on that.
I think I'm just generalizing. For me, I'm just assuming that everybody's like me, which yeah, it's a mistake I often make.
No, I think there's definitely a richness though in the offline side of things that there's a connection. That's why I love to do our events every quarter with brand builders, because, you know, whilst it's great to be building a global network and the partnerships and the joint venturing and stuff that we do in brand builders, there's that other side of it where I love a good hug. I love to look someone in the eyes. I like to see people physically. So there's something about that offline thing, and certainly with corporates, you know, I don't know. We're going to go back to a different world, aren't we, in the next couple of months? But I think corporates are less tolerant of doing that kind of thing online, aren't they? They want to do something face to face. They want you in front of them, don't they?
Well, some do, some don't. I mean, I've sold. I've sold £60,000-100,000 deals over the phone.
Oh, right. Okay. So you don't have to be in the office, and they've never met you.
Correct. Yeah.
Interesting.
You know, more often than not, it's been a phone call and then a face-to-face and then a whatever it was.
Right.
90. Biggest deal. The biggest deal I ever did, this was a funny one, was a guy I had a phone call with an industry body in London. They said, "Oh no, you need to speak to our sister, like a kind of sister organisation." And I was quite reluctant. I thought they're fobbing me off, and I went, he said, "No, Simon, I know where you're going, but look, it's okay. You really do need to speak to this guy." So I spoke to him very briefly, and he was up in Aberdeen. He lived in Aberdeen, so it was oil and gas industry, so. He said, "Well, it sounds like, if you've spoken to so and so, it sounds like what you're doing is very right up our street. You know, sounds like we should get together." I said, "Yeah, great." I said, I said to him, "Right, you're up in Aberdeen." I thought, well, I've got to fly up to Aberdeen, and he said, "Well, yeah, I'm actually, I live in Dundee in a place called Broughty Ferry." And I said, "Oh, that's really strange because my wife's uncle and aunt live there. We're going up a week on Friday. I could pop in and see you." He said, "Yeah, okay, we'll meet you at the hotel. I'll meet you at the hotel by my leisure." I said, "Oh, right, okay." So I met him, and he said, "Well, how much is it?" And I said, "Oh, it's between £20,000 and £30,000. And he said, "Okay, well, what's included?" And he thought I said 28. So I said, "Well, in the 30,000, listen." And I said, "It sounds like it's a long-term aim that you've got." He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, it sounds like you should have a long-term solution." So he agreed to a £120,000 deal there and then. And I'd had half an hour with him, maybe in 2 minutes on the phone. And then he rang on the following Monday morning. He said, "Oh, my finance director won't let me do this for you. Can we just do 3?" I said, "Yeah, sure." So that was £90,000. That was £90,000, yeah, happy days. So yeah, but I've done £30,000 deals in 10 minutes on the phone with people from Shell and other stuff like that. But yeah, they usually, sometimes they want to see you. But it can be done.
I wonder how the world will change, as Lubna says. Right now, people are getting used to working online fast, so it could well change this. What world do you think we're going to go back to, Simon?
Sorry?
What world do you think we're going to go back to?
Well, I think that we will go back to a world that is more productive. So there'll be more people working at home. There'll be less people sitting, wasting their lives commuting. And they will have to do this because, the property costs are so high, office costs are so high, people are going to see the opportunity. They'll say, "Well, we've done more. There will be more home working for sure, if only not to cut costs." Corporates are going to be, skinned. The FTSE, the corporate confidence is knackered. I mean, me and Lubna are working on it. Lubna and I are working on a resilience program at the moment.
Brilliant.
A resilience program, not for kids, but for CEOs.
I was going to say, it seems like it's a necessary pivot for you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I do but if I can, I just got to get the balance right between those two things, because the kid stuff is tough. You got to sell a lot of 20 quid product. You got to sell a lot of,
Yeah. But I mean, it could be a nice way in, though. It could be the corporate angle that you've been looking for, where you go in and you work with them on the confidence and getting them back into the new world that we're going to go back to. And then you start having a conversation with them. And you never know where it's going to go, do you? It could end up with you getting both of the streams of income that you're looking for.
The career stuff will come back. The career stuff will come back. So there's a worldwide shortage of STEM careers, and it is worldwide. That isn't going to go away. There'll be less need for less people, but a couple of years' time, they'll be flying high. And the Googles and the Microsofts and the engineering companies. It's a worldwide shortage of those countries. They'll need them. We will need those people, and those companies they'll be looking to build the skills earlier and earlier, and they'll be looking to build their brands earlier and earlier, their employer brand. I'm talking here.
Yeah,
and that's where Kidspirational will slot in as a way to help the companies recruit, inspire kids about STEM, and build their employer brands earlier on. There's an angle there that there is an angle there that I will definitely crack at some stage. The time isn't right for it now, because nobody's thinking about that stuff now. But yeah, I'll probably make some connections doing the corporate resilience stuff with Lebanon and become those.
I think that's a great move. It's a brilliant move for both of you. Now, Simon, we're getting to the end of the show. So this is Confessions of a Global Changemaker. You gave us a confession last time you were on the show. Is there another confession that you would like to share with us about something that you've learned the hard way?
Well, I've spent a lot of time going round and round in circles. So my confession would be really about that. Who is it? The guy, Eric Ries, is it? Minimal viable product. I've gone round and round and round instead of getting out there. And we should be. I should have spent a lot less on product. And a lot more on viability, a lot more on Facebook ads and direct mail and whatever it is. A lot more. I see a lot of this I see other people making the same mistakes as me, which is basically going around and round in circles and trying to, rather than just create something small, seeing if they can get somebody to pay for it. Can they get somebody to pay a £5, a 20 quid? People are building. I have built huge products without knowing, and spending all that time and that and just, you got to go out there. Those conversion rates are so low. That 1%, 1% on 600 parents signing up, and 400. Sorry, wasn't it? 400 schools, 4 of them buying a product. You've got to speak to a lot of people. You've got to be in touch with a lot of people. You've got to throw a lot of hooks out there and see what lands. We could be spending our time doing hooks, not going round and round in circles like I did, trying to, create the perfect product. I'm banging on a bit because I see it so much that.
We do as well. There's so many people, and they spend a year perfecting their products, and then they get it out there and no one buys it, and they think that they're rubbish, but it's not. It's just that it wasn't tested, or it wasn't built around the customer, or it launched at the wrong time, and you just gotta, like you say, launch it.
And online conversion rates, 1% is good. So it's good. 1% is good. But if you show people, right, well, you're going to do 10,000. You're going to show 10,000 Facebook ads. You're going to get 10,000 Facebook ads. You're going to get so many signups. You're going to get 10. And if people did that sum in their head, they'd realise that £5 product's a waste of freaking time. Do you know what I mean? I've got them. I've got them now. So. And I was speaking to this a guy who runs an agency on Friday, who I'm going to do some work for on the corporate stuff. And I said, well, you said you've got to do YouTube ads. This is what you've got to do. And he was trying to get me to sell CEOs YouTube ads. I said, no, that's not going to work. He said, but it can work. It could work for my kids stuff. And I said, so we had a discussion about that. And he said, should we bring Facebook ads as well? He said, well, so he's got an agency online marketing agency, and he said he had 16 staff before he had to furlough some of them. But so presumably he does know something about what he's talking about. And I've known him for a while.
Yeah.
I know he knows something.
Well, I can't wait to see how this all pans out, Simon. I think you're fruity enough and you're crazy enough to test it, and that's the thing. It's you know, it's not being attached to the outcome, isn't it? It's about, look, we could make all of these impressions, like you say. If you're going to make 100,000 impressions, and that's going to lead to this many people taking it seriously, which means this many people actually get to experience something. This many people buy it. You know, it's just a process of building trust. And I wish you all the very best in that, my darling.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry, I was banging on a bit there, wasn't I?
Not at all. Not at all. Listen, we are at time.
We're at time.
It is time. Let's have a look. Who have we got on the show tomorrow? We have the amazing Keith Leon. Keith Leon is an incredible publisher. He's got an amazing publishing company out in America. He's done the Brand Builders Club tour. He came and spoke at many of our events in the US, Holland, and London last year. So Keith is a very dear friend.
He came to Manchester. Did he do that live, Facebook Live or something? Of telecom?
He did. He live streamed into the Vision, Voice and Visibility Summit. That's right. Well remembered. Yeah, Keith is lovely. He's doing this incredible tour. He wrote a book called Walking with My Angels, which I couldn't put down. It was an amazing book. He's got a live session. Actually, it's happening this Thursday. I'm attending it because I think it's fascinating, you know, like learning about the other things that we can't see. Like, who knows what that is? So I'm going to be joining that on Thursday, and he's going to come and share with us a bit more about what's happening and how he's come to this point and his tour and everything. I want to hear all about his tour. That's
the thing. He's spending all his time going on the tour to promote his book. He is out there promoting his book, not sitting in there proofreading it.
Well, he hasn't got a choice at the moment, but he's doing an online virtual tour. But yeah, he's talking on a lot of summits. He's you know, he was up to that point speaking and singing at a lot of places as well.
Yeah, you got to be really out there. Online conversion rates.
Yeah, he's doing some great online stuff and some great offline stuff as well. So we're going to be digging into that tomorrow because he's done this very successful book launch. So let's get behind how he's done it and what he's doing and what is he doing next. So Simon, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Claire, Nikki, Lubna, hello to all of you that have joined us and joining us from outside of Facebook as well. I know that there are other people that are tuning in that we can't necessarily see, but hello to you. We will be back for the show tomorrow live at 5 UK time. And we look forward to seeing those of you that are going to join in for this. There's a Momentum Mondays call happening in the Brand Builders Club tonight at 7 p.m. And yeah, looking forward to seeing those of you going through the sprint this week. We're creating product this week. So we've got some people that are working on their small products that we were just talking about. We've got other people working on much larger products. And I'm working with 7 Brand Builders Club members this week. Every single day, we're doing half an hour every single day with all of those brand builders to get their product branded and launched by Friday. They've got 5 days to get it done. I'm very excited for them. So
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we're going for it this week. So, you know, there's lives to be saved. There's lives to be saved, and it can't happen while it's all trapped in here. We've got to get it out somehow. So, very exciting. So, guys and girls, take care. Have an amazing, amazing evening, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the group. Thanks, Simon. Have a fruity evening.